From this to this.
Hi, welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name's Kirsten. So a couple of videos ago I'd been inspired by Jackie Schomburg. I will link her channel. And I have created a great big abstract fun, trying different techniques on a large sheet of brown paper that I had. So I've cut it down and I've started work on the wee pieces that I've made. So with this one, I started doing more painting, and it's just, I mean, it is savable, I will do it, but I don't think that was the correct way to try and work on it. So what I've done with this one is I've used black pen, pastels and colouring pencil, oil pastels and colouring pencil, and I really like how this has turned out. I think it's unfortunately I didn't take a photo of it before I showed you. I've basically added in this here, this, and a bit of shading in here, but I just think it's a lot more powerful looking than it was previously. I'm going to put more tissue paper down actually, because that'll be distracting. My coloured pencils and my pens. This is my oil pastels. Yeah, so I think it looks much more powerful than it did before. I'm not sure if I should continue that or not, so I'm going to put it to one side. I also like these, and I'm thinking, will I add that into all of them? Which we shall wait and see. I really don't think that there's much to do to this one. I would maybe just want to add in a bit more of a structured line. Purely because there's a lot going on, there isn't any structure. Oops. So I'm just adding a bit of pencil to the black pen line. It was a bit shiny though, so I do come in with some black pastel. I do try to keep it on one side of the line. This is me coming in with brown. I have speeded this up 2.5 times, so it wasn't quite as fast as it looks. Anyway, I'm fading it out. I add some raw umber paint to this later on because it wasn't a dark enough brown, and I couldn't find a darker brown in there. Actually add some black oil pastel, that's what it is, just to try and darken it, but I do come in with the paint. Here's the paint. So this is the raw umber I actually used when I made the big picture originally. I think it's a lovely shade. So this is me debating, should I add more? So this is a fine liner waterproof black ink pen. It's is it Uniball by Mitsubishi. I got 10 of these pens for £10 in the range, and they're excellent. Oh, this is a new one. I do love smudging the oil pastel.
I'm just doing some little lines here. I'm trying to do a variety of lines, and you can see there is a straight line through the collage that's been used on this. So I'm trying to add variety. Though I do seem to like these horseshoe shapes. But I think the curves and the lines with the thick curves do work really well together. I like the way as well that this is separated. So the way the collage worked out, there was 4 of the blue dots, but I like the way that horseshoe, the thin one, had separated out the 4 into a group of 3 and 1. So I've went a bit more circular this time. So I'm using my non-dominant hand to put those little blue dots down, but then pretty sure I changed my mind to make it a blob. I might not. Yeah, so this is, I just put on a straight stripe, tried to add in the brown, and all I did was my hands were covered in oil pastel, and I've just made it worse. So, but this inspires getting out the skewer, which makes all the difference, I think. See, I think I do go and wash my hands and say, right, the oil pastel doesn't dry in to your hands the way acrylic paint does, so you can't just wipe it and hope for the best or wait for it to dry in. So yeah, so these make a big difference. And then I find more things, and I end up using a pallet. Is that a pallet knife? Oh, my brains went. Sure, I end up using a pallet I do end up using a pallet knife, and it's almost like that, you know, when you use paint you put something on and then you use the paint to take it away. Well, the palette knife kind of does that with the oil pastel, and it really takes it to a new level. And I think that's what made the paintings. Do you know, I kept this paintbrush. We used it for satinwood when we were decorating, and I keep meaning to use it when I'm doing abstract paintings, and I never do. But it sits in the paint. The paintbrush tubs. Oh, there's the palette knife. So it's square, but it's the way that it digs into the oil pastel. It's I don't know, I think the skinny lines using like the back of paintbrushes and stuff, it's something we do quite a lot, isn't it? But I just felt the squareness of the palette knife. I don't know what it was, but it did something to the oil pastel that I really liked. Almost peeled it. I felt like it peeled it. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, I'm banging the table here. This is where I make it into a blob, I think. It's this one. I do spend a bit of time with this one, actually, changing my mind about how I wanted it to be. That is the beauty of the oil pastel. You just smudge it again, start again. There, smudging it again. I'm pretty sure I rubbed this out as well. There we go. And with the skewer, I think I'm happy with that. Oh, I love that. That palette knife it's my new secret weapon. I think I'd smudged that brown oil pastel too much to put any more lines on. So this is, I start ripping bits here, like ripping bits of because I've done collage on it, and a lot of the collage was with tissue paper. I start ripping bits of the collage, and I start ripping bits of the collage. 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 And I start ripping bits of I'm able to tear parts off. Oh, and there's masking tape as well. Some of them's masking tape. I will link the video below, the original video that I made the big picture in. So this one here has 2 strips of masking tape with that sort of blue-grey colour on it. And I do end up ripping parts of that off, which I think makes it. I do like a horseshoe. There's no doubt about it. So this is where the ripping starts in earnest. I take quite a lot of this picture away actually, and I think it makes a real difference. You can tell you start off quite gently and then you just get rougher and rougher. But sometimes the tearing action is like making brush strokes. It does, you know how you tear it makes a difference in what it is that you get from it. Go, I've got a lot of orange coming in. Do you know, this is the one that ends up out of all of them looking the most geometric, I think, because I really do lose a lot of the curve on that horseshoe shape. I like that with that pale yellow showing through. So this one here was kind of, it's almost like it was split in 2. So this has got 2 bits of masking tape as well, I think. And then it's got this raw umber paint curve at the side. So just adding in a bit of the orange. I think I put on a bit of blue as well. And I'll put some white over that raw umber at the top. So that's it there, some of the white oil pastel. Do you know, I actually think that goes really well with the white paint because they're a very similar, because of the texture it was underneath from before, because I did scoring when I made the big picture. I do think that actually the oil pastel makes the white paint that was already there more of a feature. Sorry that it keeps going out of picture. I'm focusing in, I'm zooming in so that you can see the actual details of the picture, but sometimes I do lift it out the way. I have tried to edit those bits out, but yeah, this works out really well, this one actually. Do you know, this one probably was the biggest transformation because it really was very plain to start with. I like this as well with that blue line there. Do you know, I was really pleased with, so I ended up with 12 when I cut it up, 11 or 12. I had 2 that I didn't use today, and 9 of them, I was really happy with what I'd made with them. And I think, you know, if I'd got 1 out of that big picture, that would have been amazing. That would have been a success. So to get 9, I was really happy about. Now, this one, I think I end up, I think I don't use this one, or do it? I think this one ends up not being used because I think the big bit in the middle was just too big. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm doubting myself now. No, I must have used it because I've included it in here. I've broken it up, that's what it is. See, it just goes to show how different that they end up looking. Pull it off. Oh, I hope I pulled that off. I'd be disappointed if I didn't. Oh, here we go. Here's some ripping. Wasn't where I expected it to be. I realised actually when I did try to rip the bottom bit earlier on, I made a big hole. And this one actually worked out really well in the end up, because I've really, although the thickness of the curved line isn't changed much, the height of it is. And then with the orange and white that's been added in further down, I do think that this ends up actually really quite good. And then it's got that lovely ultramarine blue at the side. I have Mod Podged over the top because of the oil pastels. And then I have mounted these onto wallpaper lining paper. So all the edges, yeah, I just tore it with a ruler to give that torn edge look. Some of these have flat edges where I folded it under. I will link the video that started these off, where I made the big sheet before I cut it down. I just, honestly, I'm really happy with them. I was trying to think how would I put them. It's quite a decision. I think this one looks like a wee housing estate. What I like is that they all go together, so when I worked on them at the end with the oil pastels and the colouring pencils, I used raw umber paint, an orange, a brown and a blue oil pastel, and a black and white oil pastel as well, and a skewer to make the lines. It's weird because this one's a lot more geometric than the rest, but it's still got a curve, still got curves. This makes me think of the London Eye if you put it this way. So we're not going to put it that way, we're going to put it this way. I liked that one. I think I liked it this way best. Anyway, I am very, very pleased with these. Anyway, that is them. I'm going to need to learn how to properly frame. Thanks very much for watching and I hope to see you soon.